The ancient story of Lucifer is not to be taken literally as something that happened in history. Instead, the story represents the interaction of various occult principles at work in the universe. Even though the story is told as something that happened in the past, it actually unfolds within the present moment. We are constantly experiencing one part or another of the ancient story of Lucifer in our lives. There are many depictions of Lucifer in popular religious literature, few of which bear any resemblance to Lucifer's story as I learned it, and as I am going to tell it to you right now. You can download your own free copy of the ancient story of Lucifer by going to arielgatoga.com/Lucifer. That's arielgatoga.com/Lucifer. It is taught in some occult traditions that the archangel known as Lumiel is none other than Lucifer. It is said that Lucifer is the angel of the earth. Lucifer wasn't always the angel of the earth, however. Ancient angel lore teaches that Lucifer was the first created being in our solar system. The story is told that the cosmic creator, or God, created numerous star systems throughout time and will continue to do so for all eternity, as it is the eternal nature of the creator to create. God is a singular force that is both mother and father, male and female. These two sacred poles, positive and negative, are necessary for light to exist. Creation occurs through the interaction between the two poles of this power. These two poles are sometimes called mother and father, or goddess and god. The archangels were formed in the image of God. They, like their creator, were both also male and female, and they created through the interaction of the two poles within themselves. Just like how the physical sun extended particles from itself to create the planets in our solar system, so did the Creator extend light from itself to make the angelic host. From the interaction of the Father and Mother, the creative power flowed and reached the first sphere of manifestation. The child of God, or first archangel, was Lucifer, the angel of intelligence. In all of creation, there is continually a divine creative surplus. The surplus from Lucifer's creation flowed through Lucifer to become the other archangels. The fundamental law of creation is the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect manifests itself as above, so below. Therefore, each archangel was capable of extending themselves to create new angels. The archangels extended more of their surplus power, thus making their angels. These angels, in turn, could extend their light and bring forth their own angels. And thus was created an ever-increasing hierarchy of angels known commonly as the angelic host, which extends as a never-ending flow and line of creation. Archangels govern the celestial bodies of our solar system. The two primary heavenly bodies for the earth were the so-called luminaries, the sun and the moon. Michael governed the sun, and Gabriel the moon, which was still newly formed. On the planet Earth, biological life was emerging. An ecosystem was being evolved that would eventually house the first humans. The bodies and minds of these humans were evolving to become one with the children of the Creator. A divine race of children was created in spirit. These children were perfect, and this race was known as the Ray children. The Ray children were created through the angels by the Creator's will. The Ray children were the patterns from which humanity was to develop. Earth humans were to eventually build their intelligence and bodies to become one with the Ray children. This could only happen after they had evolved to a particular extent. Once united, they would continue their evolution, becoming angels and archangels in this universe, and eventually other universes which were eternally being created. The plan was for the divine sparks within the Earth's humans to ignite their own will to evolve. This evolution would eventually reveal bodies perfect for the Ray children to inhabit. The Ray children were created perfect in spirit, but the minds, personalities, and bodies of the Earth humans needed to be perfected so that the Ray children could manifest in them as God's will. Once all was ready, the Ray children would unite with their perfected bodies. They would then exist joyously for all eternity with free will and immortality. At first, Lucifer was not the angel of the earth, but the head of all the archangels. Lucifer was the sheer power of intelligence itself. As such, he was not the ruler of any single planet, but was the ruler and organizer of all the angels. Lucifer, the archangel of our solar system, was older than all the archangels by many days of heaven, heavenly days being equal to eons on earth. The angel called Yahweh by the ancient Hebrews was the ruler of the earth. Yahweh was in charge of bringing about the divine plan of the cosmic creator on earth. Asherah was called his wife by the early Israelites, and she was the feminine side of this same angel. Archangel Michael governed the sun, the source of our solar system. Like the Creator created the angels, the sun extended part of itself to make our planets. Michael would later be called on to govern the rulers, kings, emperors, and people of power on earth, as Michael is the ruler of our solar system. Ages passed, and our solar system cooled into an order of planets. On Earth, life was beginning to stir. Human life would gradually evolve into the perfection of the archetypes of the Ray children. The humans were to be taught by Lucifer, the archangels, and the angels. The Garden of Eden is an allegory to describe the astral paradise, which was the home of the angels. In this paradise was where Lucifer's work of creation began. Lucifer would transmit the will of the Creator to the archangels and angels to create the archetypes of all life. All of the natural kingdoms of the earth, including animals, minerals, and plants, had to be conceived and then designed. This creation occurred as patterns or archetypes. For instance, the, quote, cat pattern was an angelic animal, a, quote, angel of cats, as it were. Just as humans were meant to evolve in the image of their Ray children, so were cats to evolve in the idea of the pattern of the angel of cats. Each angel would lead their particular group of angels in the angelic host to create all the necessary patterns for their projects. You can refer to the tables of correspondences in my basic angel magic course to discover a few of the endless different plants, animals, birds, insects, and stones sacred to each archangel. Some animals hinted at in fairy tales, such as dragons, griffins, sea serpents, gargoyles, etc., were created when the angels experimented with creation. These animals were later deemed unsuitable for the planet Earth, but they were not destroyed. They remain as living animals on the astral plane. The Ray children, the human archetypes, were the patterns into which the children of the people of the earth would evolve, just as the archetypal animals were the patterns into which the animals of the earth would be developed. There were patterns for birds, insects, flowers, plants, and stones. Everything that was to be manifest had its astral design. Things created on the astral that later were not manifest remain on the astral, since all life is eternal. The Garden of Eden in the Bible is a symbol of paradise. This garden was never manifest on the earth plane. It exists on the plane between the earth plane and the angelic realm. This was the plane on which the Ray people lived, along with the divine patterns for all flora, fauna, and minerals on earth. Paradise is a perfectly immaculate, beautiful, and prosperous plane where everything is permanently perfect. Humans had begun to evolve on Earth and reached an intellect just above the apes. Lucifer's duty as intelligence was to elevate the minds of early humans to the level of the Ray children so that they could be ready for the angels to instruct them. Lucifer saw how evolved Earth people had become, yet their minds were still ignorant. As the angel of intelligence, he knew he had a long and slow process ahead of him to raise these minds to the point that the teaching angels could even begin to work with them. Then they would need to be taught by the teaching angels until they were ready to merge with their Ray souls. The perfect children of humanity already existed as the Ray children. Every person on earth had a ray soul waiting on the plane above them. Through a very long and slow process, these earth people would evolve their minds to become able to accommodate the unification with their ray souls adequately. Each evolved human would eventually become one with their soul. Lucifer's job, along with the teaching angels, was to teach the earth people over a long time until they reached the level of development necessary for unification with their ray soul in paradise. At this point, our solar system was very new, and Lucifer was still relatively young. His inexperience resulted in him putting knowledge before wisdom. Lucifer became impatient and started to question this slow business of human development. Lucifer decided that he wanted humans to be able to have their souls right away. The astral archetypes were already perfect. He concluded that rather than making the humans go through such a long process of evolution, he could just bring the earth people and the ray children together immediately. He surmised that since the ray children were already perfect, everyone could save time and effort if the ray children took up their earthly bodies early, and the vibrations of the ray children would be sufficient to bring the earth humans up to their level. Lucifer did not ask the Creator about this plan. He made a decision all by himself, and he never considered what unintended consequences rushing things might result in. Lucifer thus presented humans with the fruit from the tree of knowledge long before they were ready to use it properly. He gave them knowledge without understanding. This enabled humans to use knowledge to destroy. Death was a concept that never existed in the divine plan, yet it was now introduced into the world through these human minds not being disciplined enough to handle the knowledge given to them so early. Ariel, the throne angel, immediately called Lucifer back to the Creator's throne, and Lucifer was immediately removed from the angelic realm to avert any further miscreation. When Lucifer made this error, causing all humans to become victims of knowledge divorced from wisdom, he forced them to become vulnerable to a never-ending series of errors of their own making. The power to create divorced from wisdom and understanding was disastrous. Lucifer's arrogance was born out of impatience. His motive was to help, but his plan lacked wisdom. His mistake was that he made a decision all by himself and acted alone rather than in consort with the Creator. Initially designed to be a beautiful and peaceful home for the evolving humans that would meld with the ray children, the beautiful earth became a world of death, pain, and cruelty, all foreign to the will of God. A plan of atonement was immediately enacted. Atonement means correction. Lucifer had accidentally brought evil into the world and was now given a new job: to perfect the intelligence of each and every soul on earth through each person's efforts. Lucifer must teach all of humanity to learn their powers of knowledge with wisdom and understanding so that they can remember their perfection as ray children and no longer miscreate their world. Once all of humanity was thus instructed and enlightened, Lucifer would be restored to his original angelic glory. The plan then was that Lucifer, the first angel, would be reborn many times as a human and take upon himself the errors of the world. The great atonement would only be complete once humans knew the truth about Lucifer and themselves. Lucifer thus became the scapegoat, thrust into a wilderness of a long series of incarnations. He would continue returning to the earth until the error he perpetrated had been completely corrected. This correction would come about through his teaching of wisdom to all humanity, including each and every soul. Lucifer's significant hurdle has been that of humans reacting with fear when they perceive who he is. The confusion of Lucifer with Satan is thus no accident. The resistance of humans to being taught and helped is due to the error of arrogance that Lucifer introduced into their minds when he first made this great mistake. Humans, just as Lucifer did before him, tend to think all by themselves and rarely ask for help and instruction. Similarly to a person who is paranoid about the medication that will cure their illness, humans are paranoid of Lucifer, who comes to redeem them from their earthly pain and misery. Humans inhabit the earth with knowledge but no wisdom. This means that humans are capable of creating, but with no ability to comprehend the ramifications of their creations. They are locked in a nightmare of their own making, with no understanding of how to be released. Part of this nightmare is humans' belief that they are genuinely separate genders. Men have tended to inhabit only the male half of their minds, while women often only occupied the female side of their minds. When divorced from its female counterpart, the male side of the mind of humanity tends to hoard power for itself jealously and resist anything that it perceives as a threat to its power. Thus, the male priesthoods of this world created entire religions based on male dominance. Male-dominated kingdoms and political bodies were made. All scriptures were stripped of the knowledge of the divine feminine, and the goddess was left without a home in the hearts and minds of her people. This entire corruption happened due to Lucifer's sincere but arrogant desire to help speed up the process of human evolution. In Greek mythology, Lucifer's error is represented by the story of Prometheus giving power to humanity, which in turn caused Pandora to open her box of corruption and confusion. Through the tiny bits of what Lucifer teaches in each of his many incarnations, he accomplishes his great undertaking. As such, he is the angel of the earth, born again and again as a messenger, teacher, and redeemer. Between each life, he returns to paradise as an archangel to allow humanity to integrate what he has taught them and thus prepare for his next arrival. He was known as Dionysus in ancient Greece, Quetzalcoatl to the Aztecs, Osiris in Egypt, Jesus of Nazareth to the Hebrews, and many others, yet he is the same angel each time, but wearing a different earthly disguise. Contrary to popular myth, there was never any war in heaven. What humans believed to be a war was in fact a gentle correction. The Creator forgave Lucifer immediately. He was removed from his post and sent to his new duty on earth, but this was Lucifer's desire as well. It was not a punishment, but a correction. The angels that joined with Lucifer to help him redeem the children of humanity were not demons cast into hell as has so often been described. They were angels who went to the earth with Lucifer to instruct and thus save humanity from the ignorance in their minds which Lucifer caused and now must correct. The teaching angels work with us when we call upon them. They are the same angelic host Lucifer will lead again when he finishes his task of the atonement. They are a holy, divine family. There is eternal love and harmony among them. Michael, the sun's archangel, is the righteous defender. Michael brings the solar light to enlighten the minds of humanity. He brings success, music, protection, healing, and all manner of bounty to the people, just as the sunlight brings all life to the earth. Gabriel, the great lunar angel, heralds each of Lucifer's rebirths. Gabriel opens the feminine side of the human mind, which is necessary for the salvation of all humanity. It is through the receptive side of our minds that Lucifer's help can enter. Gabriel teams up with Anael to bring the Shekinah to our plane. Gabriel is the magnetic force through which all magic works here. Samael, the angel of Mars, fights the wars of humans when asked. He is the bringer of energy, enthusiasm, and protection. If we ask Samael to fight our battles rather than fight them ourselves, he does so in a way that everyone wins. Through calling on Samael, all war can eventually be eradicated from the earth. Divine justice is executed through Samael. Raphael, the angel of Mercury, instructs people's minds and is thus the link between Lucifer and humanity. Raphael is the current archangel of intelligence, Lucifer's original title. Raphael can stand in for any of the teaching angels, and he can be called upon when one does not know whom to call. Sachiel is the merciful angel of Jupiter. He lifts the burdens of humanity and helps with all financial and legal matters. Sakiel brings mercy and helps to aid us in all manners of difficult situations. Divine justice is decided through Sakiel and executed through Samael. These two angels work together quite frequently. Anael, the angel of Venus, brings love and beauty to all humanity through art, poetry, beauty, pets, nature spirits, and holy relationships. She, along with Gabriel, creates the great light of the goddess upon the earth known as Shekinah, the medium of all magic and miracles on earth. Uriel, the angel of Uranus, is the keeper of the occult tradition and the initiator into the occult truth, knowledge, and wisdom. He ensures that in each generation, some will preserve the ancient wisdom, so that there is always a living link between humanity and the angels. It is through this link that humanity is being restored to its rightful home in paradise. Cassiel, the angel of Saturn, teaches humanity lessons from their troubles and mistakes. He cares for them in their old age. He teaches fortitude, deep contemplation, and wisdom, leading humans to rest in peace between lives. Asariel, the angel of Neptune, has a specific task. He creates a thin veil of illusion between the planes. He develops psychic faculties and grants the ability to perceive worlds and planes which are not physical. Asariel inspires through fantasy and illusion. Asariel makes the angels seem more real to us through things like dreams, stories, and apparitions. Although Neptune can be a bringer of confusion, Asariel, the angel of Neptune, can temporarily present people with things that they don't understand, and without these illusions, they would be too frightened to behold what he reveals. It is the will of the Creator that all have free will. Therefore, none of the angels can work with the lives of humans uninvited. When we learn how to call upon the teaching angels, we are capable of receiving powerful assistance. This is the purpose of studying the Pauline arts and angel magic. Humanity has begun its grand awakening. Major religions and political institutions are caught in significant resistance to this awakening. Through the eons, Lucifer's ancient occult tradition has been taught and preserved by the descendants of Eve, to whom he gave knowledge. There have always been women and men who did not turn away from the ancient goddess, and thus have never deserted nor condemned Lucifer, the great rebel angel. They understand that Lucifer desired only to help humanity, and attempted this help through an error. To atone for his mistake, he has committed himself to the sole task of bringing wisdom to humanity. Lucifer teaches humanity through the divine feminine. In the Bible myth, Lucifer came to Eve, not Adam. This is because the mind's feminine side is the receptive side. As the feminine side of humanity received the knowledge of Lucifer's error in the garden myth, so must it be the feminine side of our minds that receive the knowledge and wisdom of Lucifer's correction. This is why women throughout history seemed more amenable to Lucifer's wisdom than men. Women were usually more attuned to the feminine side of their minds than most men. However, as humanity has learned to integrate its mind, people with bodies of all genders are now becoming willing and eager to learn Lucifer's mysteries and return to their home in paradise. The masculine mind, divorced from its feminine counterpart, can never accept Lucifer. Lucifer continues to be misperceived as the devil and the bringer of evil to those with split minds. Lucifer's great return represents the mind of humanity becoming enlightened by truth. Ignorance is the only evil. Knowledge and wisdom, when brought together, create light. Lucifer, the light bearer, is thus known in several occult traditions as the light of the world. Lucifer's light will correct every error in our minds when we let it. You can download your own free copy of the ancient story of Lucifer by going to arielgatoga.com/Lucifer. That's arielgatoga.com/Lucifer. Thank you so much for listening. Blessed be.